Yeah, yeah. There's a quote from that movie I really love, where the main character, like I said, is worried about what he's just achieved his life dream, and he's like, I don't, why do I still feel a bit empty?
Right.
And then the lady who he's working with says to him, gives him a story about two fish, and she says there's once a young fish who swims up to an older fish, and the younger fish says, I'm looking for the ocean, and the older fish says, this is it, this is the ocean, you're in the ocean right here, and the younger fish says, oh, no, this is just water, I'm looking for the ocean, and then that's it, cutscene.
Oh,
And it's like, it's right, life's
that's
right
amazing.
here. Like, it's just
amazing.
there. It's all around us.
I have seen this movie, but I
Yeah.
saw it like I guess 3 years ago now. I think it was the summer of 2021.
I think I like it so much.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the podcast. So this is episode 2, and the Commonplace Book Podcast is just about, I guess, gathering the philosophy of the people in my life and trying to compile them through a conversation and through a series of these type of conversational podcasts that I can record and share with other people in case there's any sort of insight or wisdom to be found in them that I think other people might want to hear and start implementing into their life. So today we have Hamaz. This is Hamaz. Do you just want to introduce yourself a bit?
Yeah, Hamaz. I mean, with us, we met through a friend.
We did.
A couple of years ago now. And then I think we learned that we like, I don't want to use the word overthinking, but we like thinking deeply about stuff, and we found a connection that way. A bit about me, I studied engineering. I now work as a business analyst. That's the boring stuff. And I like the like passions. I like the art of cinema, not just movies, but like the art of it. And I like cooking a lot. I don't know how much any of that will come in this conversation, but that's...
You do like cooking a lot.
That's the basic of
I feel like cooking is a good creative manifestation.
Yeah.
So
it's also something that everyone understands a language of at some point.
yeah, because everyone needs to eat. So
Yeah, and it's a way of, like, there's we live in a world where people around the world have problems with other people around the world, but there's always a doorway through food.
Exactly.
Always,
I agree. I could definitely agree.
Always.
Thank you. So, as you know, the point of this podcast is to capture a component of your philosophy and in a sort of, I guess, a bit of a streamlined sentence of sorts. Now, this has been premeditated. This part isn't live.
You made me write a 1,000-word essay on it.
Yeah, it's and then I read it, and then I decided if it was good enough, if he could
And
be
you
on
shredded
the
it
podcast.
in front of me.
Because it was absolute trash, and then I invited him on anyway because I couldn't get anyone else. But yes, if you could share that, and then we can, I guess, start to unpack it a bit.
Yeah.
Discuss it.
I wanted to talk about the idea of positivity and kind of false positivity.
False positivity.
Because there's like kind of, I mean, obviously there's a lot of different ways I've lived my life and stuff, but two philosophies that I kind of picked up when I was in, I wouldn't say high school, and that was it didn't come from nowhere. It's just kind of like a way I started thinking and seeing the world back when I didn't really have responsibilities. One of the thoughts were, let's see if I get this right. Grow old, don't grow up. So like, you're gonna age, you're gonna get older. That's fine, but like, don't fully just grow up. Just keep childhood with you. Oh, as in like keep a part of your inner child going. So that's kind of one idea that it's not like I religiously followed. I got a religion for that, but not like I religiously followed, but I kind of, I would say it still described me for a long time.
Right.
And then the second part, the second idea was this one's a bit. It seems pessimistic, and I think this is what we can go
No,
into.
but I think it's always interesting because there's two sides to it, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's life's a joke. Laugh at it.
I completely agree.
Yeah. So you can see how both of those are
Yeah.
like similar, which is why I thought I'd bring them both to the table.
That's quite interesting.
But I think the important part is, and we can go into beginnings and where we got to, but I feel like both of those mindsets started hindering me more than they were helping me after a while.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, those are two stuff I thought I'd bring to the table.
That's quite interesting because so my immediate reaction is just a sense of play.
Yeah.
I guess,
Yeah.
To just play around with things, to enjoy the moment.
Exactly.
And I think I really resonate with that philosophy.
Yeah.
Because I think, because life is to be enjoyed, right? That's what people say.
Yeah.
But then there's the other flip side of it where it's like one of the biggest like teachings of Buddhism is that life is suffering, which is the complete opposite of just have fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I say I completely resonate with that because everything I try to do, I try to find enjoyment in it. Because if I'm hating it, then I don't understand why I would continue to pursue it.
Okay.
And I think it's an interesting dichotomy. And you said you've begun to go back on that, and I think I have too a bit.
Yeah.
And I want to hear your reasons first before I.
Yeah.
Because maybe we agree on that note as well. Because I think as I mature, I'm realizing there is a different way.
That's the point you made there is probably that word there is probably the one that connected most, is mature. As you grow up, as you leave high school, as you hit university, and then the real world of work, however that might look, I know for different people it looks differently, but at the end of the day you have responsibilities that you got to start picking up, and everyone's got a different situation, but I feel like for me, I wasn't realizing that you actually have to try. You actually have to try, and you have to fail a few times, or you actually have to sometimes you have to be serious.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
I get that.
And it wasn't like I was actively trying to be unserious. I was just I just had this mindset of just being more relaxed and just letting things happen eventually as they would happen, or a lot of hope. I would say delusional hope that things would just go okay. So while as I went through, I would say both university and work, I had responsibilities that I had to pick up. I won't go into detail, but it's all the usual stuff. Really,
I get that.
I was realizing I was just struggling with it.
Yeah, because once you start adopting these responsibilities and you need to, I guess, look after other components in your life, you realize that if I mess this up, there's going to be consequences.
Exactly.
And then if there's consequences and things go badly, there is a level of underlying suffering in my life. And it's harder to just be like, oh, yeah, smile that off. Be like, don't worry, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Because inevitably, you're now experiencing some sort of tragedy in your life. You're like, oh, shit.
That's it. If it's all right, this is where I am going to get serious about, where I've been the last couple of years. So I learned a while back that I suffer pretty badly from anxiety.
Okay.
For a while, it was really it was really bad for me, and I've seen bad moments since.
Yeah.
But I've grown a lot, and I've gone a lot through it. But what it means is that people who suffer any level of anxiety, and I think most people can connect with it, even if you don't have it on a
I think at some point in time, everyone's probably
you can connect with it being anxious. But yeah, it's a lot of overthinking, a lot of worrying, a lot of saying what if and getting emotional about it, even if the problem isn't there. You're making it in your head, catastrophizing. So what that's meant was I would go to an extreme. Either I'm trying to be way too, as both of those philosophies were saying, trying to be way too relaxed and chill and not worry about stuff, or the complete extreme where I'm overthinking and worrying and trying to be serious, when really life is somewhere in the middle where you've got to worry about stuff. Finances matter, health matters,
of course,
family, stuff like that, but you don't have to stress at it to the highest extreme. It's just every day just kind of look after yourself generally, mostly. And then when things hit extreme, you can react. But at the same time, you can't just let hope stuff just moves forward.
No,
You've got to take control.
Yeah, I'm big on the whole like grab life by the balls type.
Have
a bit of vigor. You have to make things happen. And I was very much the same. Like I was, and I've talked about this previously over to you, or like I think I mentioned in the last episode as well. Like coming out of uni, I didn't have anything lined up. So for me, it was kind of like, oh yeah, things will be fine. And then you realize, because everyone of my mates had jobs, they were making money, they were like moving out, they were getting on with their lives, and I was just there like, oh shit, like I actually have nothing going for me.
Yeah.
And that's when it kind of hit me like a bus, like, or a train even, like and then that's when I started getting deep into my anxiety cycles as well. Because I was like, that was my first hurdle. That was literally the first hurdle. Like, what are you going to do after university?
Yeah.
And because realistically, when you're in education, you only focus on next day. I got to do my assignments. I got to do this.
Exactly. It's all theory. It's not the real world.
Exactly. And then when you're hit with the moment that now I have to do, well, now I can literally do anything.
Yeah.
What do I do? Because it goes back to the whole having fun. Because life is a playground when you can do anything.
You could go completely. You
can go off the rails.
Exactly.
You can do whatever the hell you wanted, but people don't, because there needs to be a level of responsibility that you need to adopt for yourself.
Yeah.
Like you need to like you said, look after your health, on money and all that sort of stuff. Like these are all important components that I hadn't thought about long term.
Yeah.
I had just thought about, I'm in uni, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
That wasn't how things played out at all.
I mean, we all have to go through that, and I would say you went through it. Where I would say most people are in the same boat. When we leave uni, we kind of got to start figuring stuff out. I would say I was really, because I'm only at this stage very recently,
right?
Because I've been very privileged that when I left university, I didn't think too hard. I had a rough idea that I want to go, because like I said, I studied engineering, but I knew I didn't want to go into engineering. I wanted to take the kind of technical process side and work in work in a business in the city. Do the rat race for a bit. And then that was it. That what I just said there was as much as I thought about it, really. And then I spoke to my uncle. He knows how to get a doorway in, and then it was fine. And that's where the privilege comes in. Again, for diet, for example, I didn't think too much on it because I still was living at home, financial reasons, and many other. So for the most part, food was cooked. So I had all of this kind of, when kind of stuff is kind of, I don't want to say completely done for me. I'm not a complete, a layabout. But when things are kind of, you don't try too hard, you can stay more on the chill side of that spectrum rather than the other one. So I started, worrying about things like, why am I not doing this? Why am I not doing that? When I didn't have to. At the same time, trying to be living a chill life, when basically what I should have done, I mean, I'm saying should have, but shoulda, woulda, coulda, is followed a kind of path of deciding what it is that I want and knowing what I have to do to get there. Not saying, it's fine, I got stuff around me, things are moving. I got a roof over my head and food on the table.
I think it's really easy to just follow that path of non-resistance kind of thing.
Yeah.
At least resistance, sorry, where it's just everything's taken care of me, so I can just kind of float.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because you mentioned the food is cooked for me because you have the catering stuff. So I want to
we can go into that. Yeah.
I'm quite interested in that because you started your catering stuff last year. I think it was last summer.
Yeah. And so officially last year we started an outdoor barbecue catering company.
And that went really well last year. You're doing it again over the summer this year.
Yeah. Now we're hosting events and stuff.
And you had a pretty good one yesterday. Sorry.
Yesterday.
Last night,
yeah.
And I'm quite interested in that because you went from just thinking about the world of work kind of thing, but okay, let me go do this, and we've talked about this before, right? You have a list of ideas, right, of stuff you could do, for entrepreneurial type stuff. Because I have a similar sort of list as well. Yeah. Mine exists in my head. You've actually written it down, so you're a bit further.
Yeah, from there to there, but no more than that.
But you've started this one thing, right? And this is kind of the one thing that I wanted to do that I'm now doing as well.
Yeah.
And I think
major respect, by the way, and I'll tell you why in a second.
I appreciate But I think it's major respect to you because now you have to cook for people, and if your food's shit, then
yeah.
then you have a lot on the line.
Believe me, yeah. But listen, it takes a lot of people going, your food's really good for you to start a
Yeah.
catering company. You can't just go, I like this.
Yeah.
So
Validation's hard to find, right? Food,
Right.
especially
yeah.
because people have different palates and stuff.
Yeah,
So I think it's
yeah.
a bit harder. But that's when I think that's quite interesting because now you've started your own thing, and I'm curious because again you said the anxiety stuff, like to start your own thing and to start rolling with that, like what was the impetus for that? When were you like, you know what, I'm gonna do this?
I'm glad.
And
Yeah.
I'm gonna deal with things as they come.
It was quite simply, it wasn't an individual choice.
Okay.
That's what made me realize what I can do. This is like major respect to my brother here, but my family as a whole, they've always been really supportive on whatever paths I've been taking and stuff. But I never used to the barbecue stuff in particular. I never used to cook alone. I grew a passion for cooking at home, sure, but that particular outdoor stuff was something I did with my brothers.
All right. Okay.
So we were kind of, he took the initiative at a different charity event. They needed someone to do it, and he took the initiative of going, we can do it for you, completely unofficially, like we'll come and help you out. And then I joined in from that, and it was there, both of us kind of looked at each other as we were doing it, going, we could do this, this could be an actual thing. So it was quite simply that. It was not doing it alone. It was making a choice with someone else and supporting each other, and then me realizing from that, I can do things. The things that I want to do, I'm going to make choices. Like if I want to go to places, do things, learn things or whatever, I can make those choices for myself.
Do you think that's still, just going back to the first point you mentioned, like this is, like it's like play, it's fun for you, right? Like this is, it's like, because you said you and your brother looked at each other like, we could do this. Like I think like, it's like, we just kind of made this little game for ourselves. And we're pretty good at it, so maybe we should keep playing and see what. Like.
Something we always say is, so there's a whole, running a business is, there's loads of stuff in the background, like financially, logistically, you got to actually
I can imagine.
organize and process stuff. We cater at places, so we've got to get food and equipment to somewhere. That's also logistics. All of that stuff is the added extra business stuff. The moment we are placed there, we set the fire going and we start cooking. We're in the zone and we're fine. I could, I'm not thinking. You've seen me cook.
I've
like,
seen,
I'm like, if my hands are just moving and I'm doing
you
it.
just go. You just go.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Everything else is like, I've got to think about it.
Right.
But that part of it is the game. So that's why it's still,
Yeah.
it's play, but there's play, but there is the other side to it as well.
It's like, let's say football, just because Champions League final was yesterday.
Sure.
It's like, the game is the game, right? You see them play, but you never see them train. Like you don't see all the stuff on the outskirts, and that's the part. I think that's the part where it's a day in and day out. Like all the other stuff that they have to do that causes a lot of their, I guess, the stress and also the motivation as well, right? It's
They've got to
like,
do.
Where do I find it to get up and?
Yeah.
Do it.
That's what
Go
it
on,
is.
you were gonna
I was going to say there's so much they've got to do. Advertising. They've got to do the social media stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
They've got to react to fan stuff. And that's what, sorry, I bumped in there, but it was only because it was like, I can connect with that because it's like balancing all those ideas. The front end is one thing, but knowing stuff, everything in the back end is like, whoa. But that's why I like the challenge, of doing this.
So I think that's one part of, so I have a phrase that I used to say a lot, people kind of got sick of, so I stopped saying it, but I say the game is the game.
Okay.
A lot, and I used to say, it's a very popular phrase,
I
think I probably oversaid that a bit too much. But that's partly because I like the challenge, like you just said. Like I like, because I think it's all inclusive, right? Because when you say the game is the game, and I know this is about you, not me, but I think it includes a part of the challenge, a part of your responsibility, but also a part of the play, and it sort of combines them all together, and you understand that this is the game. It's not just one component of that.
Yeah.
It's not just the stress that comes from all the preparation. It's not the enjoyment from just being in the flow state. And it's not just the responsibility of all the things that come about from doing this, whatever this thing may be, right?
Yeah.
It's an amalgamation of all those things into a game.
Yeah.
And when like I thought about that phrase when you were saying what you were saying, because it was like it's an all-encompassing statement. It implies all the other layers to it, right?
I love gamifying stuff. It doesn't matter what it is, but if you can turn it into a game, it's so much easier to be palatable. I want to ask, because you said it's not, but it's both of us is chat. When you're doing this, because obviously there's stuff in the background that you have to,
Like
worry
the
about,
writing.
and you're also, you are doing this off your. I've got a support team. You're doing this pretty much on your own.
Yeah.
Would you say that there is parts where you're like, I'm glad I'm doing this bit, but that all this other stuff is a challenge that I enjoy playing the game with?
So I like to shoot outside quite a bit.
Sorry?
Outside. I like to shoot my videos outside. So there are clips here and there, well, like quite a few actually, where I'm outside. And honestly, sometimes I'm just walking around for ages, and it gets kind of annoying because it's kind of like, oh, I can't film in this spot. Or when you are filming and someone walks through.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, man! You can see me talking into a camera.
Literally that part. Because I was imagining like a B-roll shot.
No. This is A-roll when I'm talking, or they'll come stand next to me. And there's been 2 occasions where this has happened, and I think they do it intentionally. Or they don't talk, but they just stand next to me. It's kind of weird.
That's so odd.
But like there are instances where that happens where I'm just kind of like, I've strongly considered not filming outside kind of thing anymore. But to me that's like partly the reason I want to do this is to get outside, to have a bit of an adventurous thing with it, and I enjoy the outdoors.
I feel like you're achieving that so far. On your channel.
And like I think, but again that's where the difficulty comes. Like the end result I've enjoyed, like when the video gets published and stuff, I'm like, I did a pretty good job here.
Yeah, and that's the best bit.
Yeah.
Because I can connect with that, because almost every event there's at least one person who comes out going, love that burger, man. That food was amazing, or whatever, and that's it.
It's the gratification, right?
That's all I need, to know that it's not just the gratification of, that feels good, I did a thing and they liked it. That's obviously that's okay.
Yeah.
But it's also the fact that it means we're on the right path. We're doing the right thing. We're not just trying to figure it out. We are doing the right thing, that we can, a service that we are correct in providing.
Do you know what Star Wars?
Do I know Star Wars?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yoda says, do or do not, there is no try.
Yeah.
So it's either you're doing the thing or you're not doing the thing, right?
I always used to not like that one.
Really?
Because it makes it sound like you're not supposed to try.
Well, I think, not trying to unpack Yoda here, but I'm going to speculate here. I think it's like when you do, you're in the process of doing it. It's like when you
are trying.
Yeah, like you are trying.
But with the goal of...
Yeah, but you don't say you're trying, you'll say you're doing it. Like you need to go in with that level of like volition and commitment to the end goal.
That's it.
Like it's like when you organize these events, you're not like, I'm going to try and have a successful event. You're like, I'm going to have a successful event.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like when I make a video, I'm not going to try and make a video. I'm making a video. Like that's how it sort of plays out.
All right, you've unpacked Yoda for me. Yeah. I didn't know you went to the Jedi Academy, so thanks for helping on that one. Yeah. I like
no force powers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's another video, right? Yeah. I love that a lot, and I've just started doing that on my Instagram, just getting quotes of movies that are stuff like that. I've got a Yoda one as well. That's the quote is. The greatest teacher failure is, which is like loads of people. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that failure is important. But it's good to just keep remembering that, because again, going back to like anxiety and stuff, when you fail, it is a moment to learn.
How do you think that plays in with the whole where you said like, because I know you said you're reworking that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But this whole failure, how does it fall in with the whole like playing and your anxiety and stuff? Like, so say yesterday went to shit.
Yeah.
Like, what would be your mindset? That you wouldn't be here right now. Would you want to take some time? I'm just for an example. Would you take some time? Like,
no. I've been doing that a lot. So
what is the end result with it?
That's where we can get a bit deep here now, but there's been a lot of like, personally, I've been like running or hiding away. If I'm not, if I don't feel I'm going to be at 100%, or I don't think I'm going to be, my brain's not where I want it to be, then I would like just hide away. I'll be like, I can't face today, or I can't deal with it today. But the fact is that, and this is again is something I've learned recently, and things like talking like this, therapy, all that kind of stuff helps. It makes you've just going back to Yoda, really, you just got to do it, man.
Yeah.
You just got to. You can't just go, well, I'll give it a go. Okay, all right. I'm really getting Yoda now, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like you can't just half-ass it. You've got to just go, right, I'm just going to give it a go. And then as you got to live with being uncomfortable.
Right. I
you
agree.
know, if comfort zones are comfort zones for a reason. But if you do that, you'll never get out and go and get a job. You'll just sit, relax. I'll never, go and try stuff. You've got to.
And I think people owe it to themselves.
What's that?
They owe it to themselves as well. Because it's like you can be so much more than you are. And I'm not saying like people need to always be doing more, but I'm saying if you have a feeling that you should be doing something, why not?
That's what it is. Yeah, it's like I love that phrase of you owe it to yourself, because it's like if you want something, or if you feel like you can do something, give it a go. If you fail, you will have learned something. You might think, oh, I'm not ready yet.
Yeah, but like I think so. Even when things fail, I don't think it's like definitive, right? I think it's
exactly.
It's just one instance in time. There's one thing that I've been thinking about a lot recently is that whenever we have any sort of thing up and coming, right? We only see that as one point. We don't see the expanse of life that comes after that point.
Yeah.
So if I had a big, I don't know, like a big project due on Friday or something, or a big,
I love this,
or a marathon next weekend.
Yeah.
Like, win or fail, whether it goes well or it goes shit, whether I fail or I succeed and everyone claps their hands, or I get fired, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like that's the only point I'm seeing right now, because that's the thing. But I forget that I still have like another century of life after that. But the perspective is lost, right? And I think that's where the failure comes from, right? It's like the failure component is because we see the next thing as the only thing.
Yeah.
We don't extrapolate our lives for not decades and decades to come and see it as like, oh, this is just one thing that I'm going to do. And after this, I'm going to do like probably 100 things like this.
It's
again.
tough. You're right. I mean, you're right. Yeah, because it's like we plan stuff, as you said, coming soon. Foreseeable, and we plan and then. I mean, I don't really, but a lot of people do like a 5-year plan or whatever, like looking far ahead. Yeah. But there's 4 years in between that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's what you're trying to get at there, and that's what. It's weird, but then there's also the other mindset of just letting every day come as it comes. But then that's, I think that's got its own downfalls.
I think, and I think that's what you meant, right? When you were saying like there's a level of like responsibility, and as you mature, you can't live like that anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you can't just think about day to day, because you have to, like being in our late 20s, we have to think about, I guess, like families, like houses, cars, looking after other people. Like that's just part of the game, right?
Other people.
Because you're one person in a network of people, right? And whatever you do has ripples.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you have to be mindful of that, without being too like overbearing on yourself. Like shit, I have to look after everyone. Like maybe you do. Maybe you're in a position where you do have to do that, right? But like that mindset, where it's just like take every day as it comes. That was fine 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's probably not feasible right now, right?
I mean, I know it's not, because it's not, because you've got probably a Google or similar calendar that's you've got certain days planned out and booked out.
Yeah.
Just how it works.
Yeah, it's quite interesting.
You got to plan fun now.
You do have to plan fun. I think that's a very strange, that's a weird thing that you said, but I think I could completely agree. You can't. Yeah, that's wow. Okay.
But let's add to that then. You have to plan fun, but it doesn't mean fun doesn't have to happen in between.
Yeah.
If you get what I'm saying. So you plan an event coming up, and then, like a going out or whatever. That's planned social time. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that until then you just can't. You got to just put your head in the books and get onto work.
What are your thoughts in that case of, like, I guess spontaneity?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Just because, like, there's planned fun, and then there's all the bits in between. Like you said, there's a 5-year plan, but then there's living life for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And there's, I'm just thinking from the realm of things like responsibility, from the realms of like stability and achieving your goals and doing and adopting all this responsibility. Like, if you were faced with an opportunity tomorrow, whatever it be, like to fly to like Mozambique, and you were giving a catering opportunity, but you have to live there for like 6 months, but you'll pay the shit ton load of money. Like, that is an extreme example. But what are your thoughts?
Give me that contract.
But what are your thoughts on that? Like how would you deal with? And I'm just saying this because I want to understand, I guess, the existential component of the sort of things that are going on in your head. And sorry if it's a bit of a strange question.
No, it's good. I'm already thinking about it because that's my answer. I'm a critical overthinker. Which means when you ask me that question, I just have to balance where I am and what okay, I've got a job. I don't support a family at the moment, so maybe that would be okay. I've got a job. How does that work? There's a lot of moving elements that you've just got to react to on something like that.
Right.
This is a move to the other side of the world to do this one thing. So I have to think about, what am I doing there, and does that trump whatever I'm doing today?
So when you say trump, like what sort of?
There's two parts to everything.
Okay.
There's want and need, right?
No, I agree, yeah.
And again, we go back to the two balance of like fun. Yeah, I want to go live in Mozambique and cook for 6 months. But then there's also need. Will that sustain me well enough to, when I come back, am I going to be in worse debt? Am I going to be? Right. You can't plan that.
Yeah.
But you can have a rough idea going in of how it will probably go. It's like we plan our events. We have a set time period. We have a certain amount of people. We make sure we have just enough, over enough food to make sure, just to account for it. We have a rough idea of where the setup's going to be. But then we turn up and it starts chucking it down with rain, or the market we have breaks, or and then it's like, well, we didn't account for this, but you got to react.
Yeah.
So it's like you plan enough, is what I would say. So when if someone gives me an opportunity like that, I would pros and cons. I mean, this is a really boring answer, to be fair, but you pros and cons it, and then plan enough.
That's quite interesting, because I would take a different route.
Yeah, nice.
If it were me,
yeah,
I would probably, in that case, I would work off on impulse.
Okay.
If it's a big thing, like if it was like a trip, like when we went to Turkey, right? A few of us, like a waste.
Oh yeah, you guys went. Yeah,
so a bunch of us went to Turkey like a month and a half ago. That was a very last minute trip, and I borderline didn't want to go, just because like I'm happy I went. I had a great time.
Yeah.
But I borderline didn't want to go.
We're happy.
Well,
he's happy.
I'm happy I went. But I say borderline just because when I have goals I want to work on, I hate being derailed. Like, it's the most when I get into the swing of things and I start seeing things compounding, like there is nothing more frustrating than taking 5 days off and going somewhere else.
I connect with that.
But it's like, but I don't want to say pros and cons, because in my head that's just like, to me it was like, let me put this in perspective of like the wider scheme of life. I say I have another century to live. Okay, is this trip gonna affect me long term? Probably not. Like, am I gonna cherish these moments 5 years from now when we're older, we might have a family, we can't do this as often?
Yeah.
Probably. I'll probably appreciate this a lot more.
Yeah.
And this compounding, when I come back, I'll just start again.
Yeah.
And like, because realistically, right, it's the whole these things aren't linear, right? There's fluctuations, there's up and downs, as long as the trend is upward. And I always forget that. But like, that's what I mean when I'm saying I hate being derailed. It's just the most frustrating thing, because that's what makes me anxious, because that's one of the few things that makes me the most anxious. Because if I don't work on this now, if I don't keep working on this now, I might never get there. And it's like, it's such a, I struggle with that a lot as well. Like with the opportunities that appear and working on my goals, because
I love that. As in, I love, firstly, the fluctuation thing that you said. It's ups and downs, but as long as it's linear, I like that a lot. And I also want, I feel like you and I are on like different sides of the same coin, because you were saying about if you don't if you don't carry on, you'll just fall off it. And I'm on the other side of the coin where I'm like, if I start, I'm going to be starting to do this, and then I don't know, the end of the day comes, you sleep, or some important distraction, like something comes where you actually have to react, not a choice, like going on holiday.
Right.
And then whatever that thing is, I'm like, all right, I'll get back to it when I get time again. And time again, I don't know when that comes. Like the stuff that I started 6 months ago, going, I'm supposed to do that.
Yeah.
So like,
so
you're valid in being worried about
these things loom on my mind constantly.
You're absolutely valid. I've done it so much that I'm disassociated from it.
That's quite interesting.
Yeah, but in a bad way. Like I don't want to be disassociated from it. And this kind of change in mindset recently has helped me get a bit more of a grapple anyway, and hopefully carry on.
That's because quite literally when I was growing up, all I did was sit in front of a PlayStation. So now it's just like, I just want to do things.
Yeah,
I just want to do things. Like, I've wasted enough time in front of a screen.
Yeah.
So now it's like, I want to make things happen. So I want to interact with the world.
Yeah, I like that.
And I think that's partly where this comes from.
Yeah. I like that a lot.
And it's interesting that you said you're on the other side where you just let it be. But
not in a good way. I'm just
but where does that stem from? Like, why do you just kind of just, like, what, and maybe this is just the wrong way to phrase it, but like, are these not like goals, or are they just things you want to do? Because I'm very, like, the things I want to do are my goals, like,
right.
And I'm thinking of them constantly.
Yeah.
Not constantly, but like, every day I know what the stuff I want to achieve in that expanse of time.
I respect that mindset of yours, man, a lot, because I want to have the same feeling, but I think it's always like immediate priority, or this is, by the way, this is through work to personal life for me. It's like immediate priority or immediate deadline comes first. So if I'm working on something, there is constantly something that is more important, or like I've got to react to now. And it's happened so much that my ability to prioritize, or to know what to prioritize, has gone a bit shaky. Like I'm probably not prioritizing the right thing.
Right.
And that's where, going back to my first point about enjoy life and stuff like that, play, is like sometimes I'm like spending hours on something more chill or creative or something like that, when I'm just doing that because I feel like doing it, and in my head I'm telling myself this is the most important thing to do right now. It's important to be creative and take breaks and stuff, but I'm doing it for way too long, and I'm just thinking, so I'm kind of reacting more. I'm basically doing two things. One, I'm dealing with priorities, immediate deadlines and priorities, or I'm doing it. I'm like just doing what I feel completely, what I feel like doing right now, and usually that's like relaxing, PlayStation, watching movies, stuff like that.
It's
which is fine, but I just let it go on for too long. Yeah.
It's okay. That makes complete. I struggle with that as well. The whole like, I recently downloaded chess.com again on my phone, and anyone that has chess.com on their phone knows it just soaks away so much of your free time.
All right, there's always something.
And it's like, I always say one more game, and the next thing you know, it's been an hour, and you're like, wow, I'll play like 10 games. But it's like these things that leech on your time. It's so hard to, because you don't. There's a lot of like, you don't put that in the perspective of the grander scheme of things, right? Like I don't think of 5 games of chess as impacting my goals.
And you don't plan for it.
Exactly.
As we were talking about planning ahead.
Yeah.
You don't account for that.
And you don't think about playing PlayStation. You're like, oh, if I play an hour, it's just like I'm chilling. And it's not impacting my wider goals. And it's so hard to separate. Like in retrospect, we're like, oh, maybe we should have been working on that thing. But when you're doing it, you're like, no, I need the downtime. And it's a weird dichotomy to follow, to sort of align with that responsibility along with play. And because, like you said, right, your priorities have shifted now.
Yeah.
But now it's more about balance rather than just taking one day as it comes. It's not about always thinking about the next thing that you have to achieve.
Yeah.
And it's not about just taking each day as it comes. It's about doing a bit of both.
I'm interested, as someone who is goal orientated then, so for me, if I'm not playing chess.com, but say I'm spending the time doing that, I'm kind of prone to carry on doing it in the back of my head, going, I should be doing this instead. It's been an hour, it's been two or whatever. I've got to step away, but I'm like passing the time. It's usually I'd say PlayStation is more like watching something, watching YouTube or TV shows and stuff. I'm like doing that, and slowly not enjoying what the downtime is gone. It's not downtime anymore. Now I'm like, I'm just procrastinating basically.
Yeah.
I was going to say, as someone who's goal orientated, are you able to, after an hour, going, all right, good, do you get up?
So
I struggle with that.
No.
Okay.
But I think I reached like a saturation point with these things where it's like, so it's like, say wherever it be chess or whether it's like I'm playing God of War on PC, that sort of stuff. Like whether it's something like that, I'll just keep playing, and then I won't tell myself to stop. But then if 3-4 hours go by, and then I stop, and I'm like I'll just be put off playing up for like a week just because I was so disappointed in myself.
Wow.
Like it's a very self. I don't know what you would call it.
I wouldn't know. Like self-punishing.
It's I don't.
That sounds deeper than it probably is.
It's not I am punishing myself, but I'm not like angry at myself. I'm just
Go sit myself in the corner.
Yeah, it's like I can't believe I did that. What's wrong with me? And then I'll devote more time. So instead of spacing it out like an hour today, hour tomorrow, hour whatever, 5 hours one go, I'm like, I'm done. And then
okay.
So that's what I'm like with my free time. Like
I would say I'm the same, but a different mindset. It gets me through that. It's more like I should be doing this, and then after way too long, I'm like, right, I've juiced the hell out of this.
Yeah. So I feel like I'm just all in. Like whatever's right in front of me, I'm like, I'm doing this.
That's mad, because I was thinking, literally the other day, I was thinking, I'm the same. I'm either all in or all out, but for completely different reasons, as you've described.
Like, it's a difficult thing to manage. It's like from an emotional standpoint, because it's like you need breaks.
Yeah.
But it's just like when a break goes too far, you just have to keep going.
Something I don't like doing, a philosophy I don't like, is planning breaks, which is a very big thing for like work and school and stuff. There's like planning breaks. Like I'll work for an hour and then I'll do this, and then you gotta at least slightly react to where your body and brain is. Like which people just end up doing anyway. Yeah. But if you're working, you've got an hour planned and you're at 40 minutes and like you are at migraine zone, then that's break time. Your body's telling you that's break time.
Yeah, I completely agree. And so one way in which I actually follow that is like with exercise. So my goal is like I try and exercise every single day until the day comes where I'm just like, I actually feel like shit. I need to just relax, because at some point you'll be fatigued. Like so it doesn't happen too often. Maybe like one every 10 days, once every 11.
Wow.
It's always around like a week and a half to 2 weeks where I'm just like, oh wow, today's the day I take the rest day.
Wow. So it's like reactionary rest day.
Yeah. It's like it's inherent, because the way I see it. And this is what I mean, right? You don't plan for the rest. You don't plan for the fun. It's kind of, you just go about your day, and I think these things invite themselves. It's like when you, and this goes back to the other point that you made about responsibility, right? When you have to do the things that you have to do. Yeah. Like to me, exercise is non-negotiable. I need to look after my body. It's good for my mind, etc. Like that's just my philosophy towards it. That's the sort of the self-responsibility I impose on myself. And with that, it's just like, no, this is just something I have to do. And I'll just keep doing it, and then I'll be thoughtful about it. I'll be mindful. Like I won't, like if I told myself like I'm running like 10 miles today, which is quite a lot. I don't do that often. But I don't feel like doing 10 miles. Like I'm not going to punish myself. Like I'll do like 4 or 5 miles, and I'm like, all right, that's fine.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
But the point is, I just keep going until my body or my mind tells me to stop.
Okay.
And I do that with exercise, but I also feel like I do that with other things. Like that is, like again, when I'm playing games, 4 or 5 hours can go by, and then I'll be like, okay, that's enough.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, I'm done with that for now.
Yeah. I think that's where I want to be at, or I'm kind of at, because I'm like waiting for a certain time to pass. But because I've kind of confused it for so long, because I'll be doing something and then worrying about the other thing or thinking I should be doing the other thing, I've confused again what priorities and timescales are. So now when I try and do it reactionary, I've confused how long I would spend on stuff, if you get what I'm saying.
Like, is this the stuff that you should be doing or the play type thing?
It's both. Like, they're both important, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, I'll work. Say I start. I was like, is it in the evening? It's like 9ish. And I'm like, okay, I can do an hour of focusing on something.
Right.
But if I get into it, I'll keep going. I'm like, it's way past when I should rest now. And no one stopped me from doing this. I am tired. I'm just not. I'm not reacting.
Oh, so you don't react. You just.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter which side. It's not just relaxed. Sometimes it is just whatever I'm project or whatever I'm working on. Like, I'll just, if I'm into it, I'll just keep going, which means, and I'm doing that on a like a completely reactionary way.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's not. I wouldn't say it's healthy, and it's something that I'm.
You would say it's healthy.
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't.
No.
I would argue that's probably more healthy.
Really? No. If I'm getting to 2 a.m. knowing full well that I'm trying to fix a sleep cycle or something.
Okay. I mean,
you get what
in
I'm
the
saying?
context of bigger goals,
Yeah.
then yeah, like if you're trying to fix your sleep and you're going till 2 a.m., fair enough.
Or any other. If you've got larger priorities
Yeah.
and you're just working right through that priority with something less important.
Okay. I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
It's good to chill and have downtime.
Yes.
But if you've got something you've got to deal with, you've got to do it. If you have too many of that, you got to start looking at what are my options. Do I spread the load? Do I look at what is more important? I'm just not doing that smart part, in my opinion.
Do you like meditate or do any sort of like mindfulness practice type thing?
I suppose this is where I might bring religion into it. That is meditation.
Okay.
If
like when you
5 times, so I'm Muslim, so 5 times a day.
When you pray.
I pray, and I've been struggling with it fairly recently, but when I'm on it, it's weird because it's like, without a doubt, I feel for a while I was struggling because I put pressure on that. There's a good example of it.
To do the 5 times.
Yeah, while I was praying, like I was like, I've got to do this right. I've got to pray right. I'm not saying the right words and stuff like that. And it took me a while and a bit of discussion with people to realize that's completely not what it's about. And I'm sure people who start meditating and stuff feel the same way, where it's like, why am I not relaxed? I'm specifically telling myself to be relaxed, but that's not how it works. You've just got to do it. You just got to go through the motions.
It is the process. Like,
exactly.
It's a process that you need to be concerned with, not the outcome.
So that's my my meditation. When you just do, because that is two things, twofold. One, you are disconnected from the world. You are just focusing on simple actions and words.
Yeah.
And two, it's an outlet because you are connecting, in my sense, with the Lord, which means it's like, I don't know, similar to journaling. If you've got to let stuff out, it's a built-in system to let stuff out.
Yeah.
That would be my meditation.
I completely agree.
If I'm doing it correctly.
I mean, I always thought like things like prayer, meditation, journaling, I think all these things align with the same they're the same energy is what I would call them.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're not the same, you're not doing the same thing, but you're inherently practicing a level of, I guess, you're trying to connect with a greater thing, is what I'm saying.
Stepping out, all of this stuff we've been talking about this whole time, is stepping away from that and saying, on a spiritual level, okay, that's just stuff.
Yeah.
This is me and my body, let me just relax with that.
Yeah, exactly. No, I completely agree. And I think it's very interesting that you said you were stressed out about that. You were stressed about the process of praying. But do you think that's because you prioritized the benefits over the process? Because you were like, instead of being like, I'll do all the prayers I can, you're like, I have to pray because then I'll get this. Get this for myself, or whatever it may be.
No, it was the exact opposite.
Oh, it was the opposite, okay.
Yeah, I was like, I've got to do this, and I've got to do it right.
Okay.
Instead, when I just started thinking about, well, there's actually a lot to gain by doing it.
A lot to gain every
rather
time.
than trying to checkbox stuff. It's just do it, and then you'll gain. And then I started realizing I was gaining benefits. Do you? Because you meditate as well. When you started, did you immediately just go, "Oh, this is great," or did you? What was the fun?
been meditating on and off for like a while. And when I started, I had no idea what I was doing. Like for me, it was just like focusing on your breath.
Okay. Yeah.
And I didn't know what the benefits were supposed to be. But little did I know that these benefits, they'll take months. They'll take weeks and weeks of actual meditation, where like before you start seeing a better level of emotional control, mindfulness, all that sort of stuff, all these benefits that you reap. Like to me, it was more, that's all right. It's a long-term thing, and it was, I wasn't getting stressed, but I was getting kind of, I'm slightly impatient by nature.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, and I think with meditation, it depends on where your mental state is before you start seeing the benefits. I'm generally quite impatient, borderline anxious person, because I like to see things happening, progress happening. So when things weren't happening, I was just like, I'm doing something wrong. Like and I started Googling YouTube.
Same boat.
And then you fall down this rabbit hole of endless content and information, trying to make micro adjustments to better your process. And it's just like, this is all just waffle, really.
And you start learning that doing it right is not trying to do it right at all. It's just do it.
It's do or do not.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's where, you know how right there you've taught me how to, we kind of had a little discussion about what Yoda was on about, and I've re-seen that. Like that's where my initial, like both my initial philosophies of life's a joke, laugh at it, and forget the other one. Grow old, don't grow up. It was just about re-looking at them again. It's just basically, both of those are just like a thought. They're not a philosophy. They're just an idea that is important. Like what they represent is more important than the actual words.
I completely agree. And I've learned to laugh at myself a lot.
Yeah,
like
same.
I think regardless of what you're doing, whether it's something serious or something enjoyable, just like you have to laugh at yourself sometimes. Like, what am I doing? It's all pointless. No. Sorry, that was quite deep. It's not all pointless.
But the point is the exact opposite. It's like, just feel what you're feeling. If you're angry at that moment, you're allowed to be angry.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to, or it's kind of, you don't need to flip out or create problems for yourself or other people. And it's the same with life's a joke. Like, if something ridiculous happens, and you have the choice then to get angry. Say road rage is a really common one that I always bring up.
Yeah.
Someone cuts you off, you've got the choice to, tell them to, to horn, to start swearing and getting annoyed, and they've already driven away, but you're holding that anger.
Yeah, it's very weird.
You're allowed to be angry. Something annoying has happened. You're allowed to go, oh, God damn it. And then you just go, and that's the laugh at it a bit.
Right, okay.
And that's kind of how I've restructured that thought.
That's very interesting. So it's like you process the emotion and then you laugh at it.
Exactly.
So, okay.
Yeah, because I was forcing emotions, and it's just probably why I was talking about getting overly stressed or anxious about doing things and then doing the exact opposite and not thinking about them, disassociating. Was I was either trying to force processing it or force just reacting to it and not thinking about it. But really, it's both. It's feeling how you feel, and then thinking about how do I come back to the middle zone? The middle zone.
That's very. You say the whole like forcing emotions. Do you mean that when like you're trying to be calm or you're trying to be frustrated?
Yeah, it's more common.
If you're frustrated, you're like, no, I should just relax. I need to relax. Versus tackling why you're actually anxious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's quite interesting because I have a weird sort of perception of that.
Okay.
Like, and this is where the meditation comes in. Like, because I'm the complete opposite, where I try and force myself to be relaxed. Yeah. It's a very, I know it's like if you watch a lot of like self-help people and stuff on YouTube, they always say like, no, you need to process the emotions. So I'm the complete opposite. Like, I'm like, no. Like, okay. I will, if I want to calm down, I need to be able to like self-soothe myself. Like, if I'm frustrated in a moment, I need to be able to just cut that out completely. And I may be wrong in this, like, but I guess with emotions, it's a whole spectrum of ways you can deal with them. Yeah. So I think partly, like, again, it's the whole like self-punishment type thing. Like, I'm angry. I shouldn't be angry. Let me stop being angry. And
No, but I think
working
that's
through that.
similar to what I was saying. I don't think you should beat yourself up on that because, like I said, it's the difference between being like it's, say technology is a big one. Say TV's not working or something. There's a difference between going, oh god damn it, come on, work, and throwing your remote at the TV. One is, one's a more extreme point than the other. So I think that's what you're trying to say. Like, I'm sure, like you said, you get angry. That's the point. You get angry. That's okay.
Right.
And then you decide I've got to go to calm.
Oh, okay.
Whereas my point is that I just turn to like laughing it off, just seeing how light.
Oh, okay.
Or just kind of realizing life's.
I really like
deep.
that one actually. I think that's quite good because I think it takes you out of the moment, and it kind of induces a bit of a mindful state, like in that microcosm of that little just that moment.
Yeah.
This one thing has happened, you're like, yeah, it's fine. I'll just laugh it off, kind of thing.
What really helps me do exactly that, because you're talking about taking it out of the moment, is sitcoms. Because when you watch, let's take Friends as one of the most common examples. When you watch that, you're watching these people go through ridiculous situations, and it's all done for humor, pretty much, right? There's a few heartfelt moments, but it's ridiculous moments happen in humor. And I'm watching that thinking, if that happened to me, I would be so annoyed. I would be so angry. Like, if that person did that to me, I would be so angry. I would be so annoyed, or I'd be so sad. When they're doing it, they're laughing at it essentially, and then you're supposed to process your emotions, but that's the same thing as what you just said. Is like in a situation, taking a step back, going, "Oh man, we're gonna," the whole when people say we're gonna laugh about this.
We're gonna laugh about this in a few years.
Let it. It's okay to let that happen right now, and I'm only saying this. I'm only saying that.
Well said thing. I really like that. It's okay to let that happen right now.
And I'm only saying that because I did it for a long time. And even sometimes I still don't. Like,
you still do it?
I just immediately really serious about something that's happening. And I've got to step out and look into what's happening and going, oh, it ain't that deep.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Because that's a nice little, I think that's a nice little note to add just on the whole. When you're sort of traversing the whole being playful and the responsibility placed, I think, for being able to like deviate out of a moment immediately, just be like, oh, it's fine, kind of thing. Whether it be like, whether you're having too much fun and you end up playing God of War the entire day, you should be like, oh, it's fine.
I like that a lot. Yeah. I think it's for people like you and I, where we get stuck in our own heads. Yeah. It's important to step out of it.
Yeah. It's something I've struggled with. Right?
Yeah, well, we both have our versions of meditation and prayer, and that's a way of disassociating. But it's important to step out and look, like you were just saying, just see the extremes, both play and look at it and just go, oh, I'm just stuck in my own head, feeling a certain way here.
Do you think it's gotten easier since as you've grown up, just like getting out of the moment? Do you think you've mastered it a bit more, and just inducing the process of laughing at yourself? Does that come quicker to you than it ever did, like a decade ago, maybe?
There is a movie called Soul, Pixar movie
great
called
movie.
Soul.
Yeah,
I love that movie. This movie, when this came out, I think it was December of 2020. So
really good movie. Yeah.
Great timing when that one dropped, by the way. This is gonna answer your question. By the way. I don't want to just talk about a movie.
It's fine.
But yeah, the theme of the movie Soul is about finding your passion, and the main character. I don't want to go into spoilers too much, but the main character is spending the whole movie trying to follow his passion, and then he gets to a point where he finds that passion, and then life just carries on. Life just carries on, and he just realized, wow, I spend all my time trying to reach a certain goal, trying to get somewhere, when life is just happening around me, and he starts seeing the beauty of how he taught people and how he sees, just generally the nature and stuff like that. He sees the beauty of it, and what I really love about that movie is, though it's Pixar's Soul, an animated movie for kids, that message is not in any way for kids. And this is where I answer your question. Because, yes, every single child does not worry about that stuff, man. And sure, they don't have responsibilities, but they don't have to worry about that stuff. All they have to worry about is what's happening right here. You know, up until, you know, certain, and every kid's different, but you start having to deal with stuff and responsibilities. You are just living free and happy and dealing with what's here. And it's like, if I'm hungry, I'm hungry. If I'm sad, I'm sad. If I'm annoyed, I'm annoyed. And that's what's interesting, that this kids movie it has a lesson that is 100% for adults. And that's my answer. So I was doing it for so long as a kid, and then so did you, so did everyone else. And then you go through this kind of, you have to deal with stuff. And the only reason I found it again, and it has gotten easier, is because it's part of that journey. I feel like everyone figures it out at some point, whether they're 80 or 22.
Strangely enough, because I think it's a concept of like, it's like when you're a kid and you're just going through life, and then puberty happens, you become a young adult, and you start like splitting off and diverging from who you were.
Yeah.
But I think as you mature, like you bring in those parts of maturity, and they start aligning with the kid self again, and then you like reassimilate yourself as a fusion of the enjoyment you had as a kid versus with all the perks of maturity now, that you can do cool shit like drive, or like, I don't know, go to clubs, I don't know, wherever your thing is, like get money from salaries, like whatever it is.
But it's also like, in that period you're doing experiences. Exactly. It's either with people, or you're going places and doing stuff and trying things and failing. And it's like everyone gets to a point where they're like, right, okay, that internship's over. And I don't mean that like, I mean metaphorically, that internship of driving, or that internship of when I went traveling, and all of that is over. What have I gained? What am I putting in my pocket? And how is that
coming forward with me for the next chapters that follow?
Exactly.
I really like that.
Because then, for most people, there is a journey of beginning the next cycle, right? Your responsibility becomes making sure someone else is looking after their responsibilities.
I agree.
Before you get to that stage, it's just important to be aware of what you are.
I really like that, and I think that'd be a really nice place to end it.
Yeah, I think
it's been about an hour now.
Yeah,
so this has been a really good chat. I thank you for coming with me today, to the audience and to you.
Yeah, no worries. That's what bad.
This has been it's been really good. Yeah, thanks, man.
I enjoyed
a really good chat.
I enjoyed
really
that.
Nice.
Thank you. Thanks very much, man.
Yeah, and we'll catch you in the next one.
That's one. Bye bye.
Bye bye.